on-air adventures of Biggles.
Biggles and Bertie have been rescued by Pat and Algy from the landing field near Prague, and the plane is now approaching the border of Czechoslovakia and occupied Germany. Biggles senses danger, and Pat hurries to the cockpit with news that she has intercepted a radio signal from their enemies. They're to put down at once or be shot down.
They've apparently plotted our position on radar. They know we aren't far from Carlsbad, so they say we're to land there.
Like blazes, we will.
Did you acknowledge the signal, Pat?
No, I didn't know how you'd react to it.
Very badly. In the first place, we're in no position to put up a fight in this kite.
We'll put up a fight with that loose machine gun, rather than give ourselves up.
In the second place, I've no intention of giving myself up.
Do you want me to send a signal back?
No. There's no need for them to know we've received their message. It'll keep them guessing.
Then what'll we do? Still head for the American zone?
More than ever now, Algy. It'll take us fairly close to Carlsbad, but we must clear out of this Iron Curtain territory.
Roger. I'll change course.
Pat, you hop back to the radio. Keep me posted on anything new in their signals, and particularly, let me know how they interpret our change of course towards Carlsbad.
Roger. I shan't reply unless you give me the word.
That's the ticket. Nothing more we can do, Algy, except keep alert and be prepared for fireworks. Far enough away for them to know we aren't putting down. We shall soon learn their reaction.
They haven't tried to carry out their threat so far. We may have a clear run through yet.
Don't bank on it, old son. We changed our course towards Carlsbad. That made them think we were obeying their instructions.
Pat said they'd noted our change of course, but they were still threatening, don't forget.
These people always threaten. Czechoslovakia is a totalitarian state. That means the troops and officials are bullies. They have to be.
You think it was bluff?
No, but an attempt to frighten us.
There's another signal, Biggles, from a plane.
This is the one I've been waiting for.
They kept on correcting our course to Carlsbad, and then they went off the air. A minute ago, this signal cut in from the leader of a flight of fighters that's been sent after us.
Fighters, eh? Sounds like a scrap after all.
Telling us to put back, eh, Pat?
Yes. He tried to get me to acknowledge, but when I didn't, he simply ordered us to turn back and threatened to close in and shoot.
Close in? Wonder how far he needs for that.
There's quite a strong moon tonight. We should see them before they're in shooting distance.
You'd better spot them quickly. It's coming murky ahead.
Yes. I saw a glint way to the south.
They must be coming from the border. Throw forward the stick, Algy. We'll need all the height we can get.
Can you see them, Biggles?
I've spotted them. I catch the glint of the moon on their wings every now and again. They're still some way off.
Want to go back and contact them?
Not much point, Pat. Unless you feel like thumbing your nose and telling them to go to blazes. We certainly aren't putting down yet.
How long before they're in range, Biggles?
A minute, perhaps. No more.
I'll go back and keep tuned to them. It might help.
Anything to suggest, Biggles?
Keep climbing, that's all. I can see them clearly now. They're gaining, but they aren't above us.
I'll correct that soon enough.
Yes. Yes, they're going up now. There are 3 of them. It looks as if they're going to dive one after the other.
Oh, I could dodge 1 perhaps, but not 3.
Even so, dodging's your only hope if they gain that height. No! No, by Jove, it isn't. Algy, dive! Dive like mad, eh? Quickly, man! They'll be swinging down in a second.
Just as you say. Yes, I get it. That cloud.
Yes, there's a heavy bank of it, and it's well below us. If we can reach that first...
They've twigged. That's the opening move.
It was too wild. He isn't close enough yet.
He will be in a second.
In a second, you'll be in that cloud. Give it everything, Algy.
That was closer.
Yes, you're right. We're in the bank. Pull out of it, old son. They'll be lucky to see us here.
He overshot us. That was way to starboard.
Give your rudder bar another kick. If you swing even more to port, you'll throw him off completely.
I can't hear any more fire.
No. If he's shooting, he's miles away from us by now.
Oh, good. I thought we were going to kiss goodnight just then.
Don't be too confident, Algy. There were 3 of those kites. If they made a wide sweep through the cloud bank, they might still find us.
Yes, and the swine below are plotting our course by radar. If they're in radio contact with the fighters...
We'll jump that hurdle when it's in front of us. In the meantime, keep generally on this course, but nose slightly over to the west, so that we can hit the border. The cloud may give us the start we need.
Wonder how far we are from the border. I've lost track of our position with this dashing around and hiding in clouds.
We can't be far away, and any westerly tack will take us across it.
There's another warning, Biggles. This time from the ground.
What's on their minds now, Pat?
They say they've tabbed our position again. According to them, we haven't a chance of getting across. More fighters are being sent up to intercept us, and Ack guns are being trained on our course. If we want to stay alive, we're to put back to Carlsbad.
Did you send back a rude message?
No, I'm still maintaining radio silence. If we send out a signal, it'll make it all the easier for them to locate us.
It seems to me they've located us pretty well as it is. Blast radar.
They may have located us, but they haven't shot us down yet. Thanks, Pat. You can hop back to the radio.
All right, Biggles.
Algy, start weaving. Maintain a zigzag course, and whatever you do, keep within the cloud bank.
Roger.
That's the idea. Now, if anyone does attack us, they'll find it darned hard to land a shot. Keep up these tactics until we're over the border, Algy. Together, within the cloud, they may keep us in one piece.
This is dribbling away our juice, Biggles.
You still have enough, haven't you?
Oh, yes, there's some in the tanks. But if we wander off course or anything peculiar happens, we may find ourselves in trouble.
May find ourselves in more trouble if we fly on a steady beam. For the moment, we'll treat the juice as a secondary danger.
This is a lovely spot. Primary dangers and secondary dangers now. Not just one.
The border can't be far away, so all being well, we'll be out of danger in a few minutes.
Or we'll be right in it. You know, I don't fancy the moment when we hit the border. Hello? That was flak.
This is the moment, Algy. They promised they'd have their ack guns trained on us at the border.
More height, do you think?
No, we should be all right. Besides, we don't want to fly above the cloud. I have a feeling there's a bevy of fighters waiting for us up there.
Oh, but I say, Biggles, we're within range of that flak.
Perhaps, but they're firing blind. They've no more to go on than the radar bearings, and our weaving should counteract those. Keep at it.
Am I wrong, or do those explosions seem further away?
Yes, I think they are. Yes, by Jove, they're disappearing. We've made it, Algy. We're across the border.
You beauty! It was this cloud bank that did it, Biggles. Thank goodness it's such a whopper.
Yes. Although it's beginning to thin out. Have you noticed that?
Well, I don't care if we fly out into the full moon now. We're in Germany. We're right.
We should be. But I can't get out of my mind that warning about fighters. They didn't attack us in the cloud, so they must have been following above it or below it.
Oh, I don't know. Who cares about that after all? They wouldn't follow us into the American zone, I shouldn't think.
Not so sure. There have been a number of incidents of planes violating the border recently.
That's true.
However, we are almost through the cloud. Yes, we should know in a moment.
Well, here we are. No more cloud. In fact, the sky's as clear as we could wish for.
Hit it! Look, Algy.
Yes?
There are fighters behind us.
What's that?
Yes, there they are. They were above the cloud. A whole team of them. If you've got any more throttle left, clap it on, Algy.
A clear sky and an unknown number in the team of fighters against a single plane. Algy coaxes the last ounce of speed from his machine as the fighters diminish the distance between them. Will they dare to attack over the American zone? The Flyers are still in great danger, and they'll face many thrills in the next episode of The Air Adventures of Biggles.
The Air Adventures of Biggles.
Flying somewhere over Eastern Europe, Ginger, Andy and Ross plan to overpower Lutzow, their pilot, and take command of the plane. But they decide on their plan too late. The motors throttle back, and from a porthole, Ginger sees the lights of a city swimming up from below. Meanwhile, Algy's plane, flying Biggles and Bertie from Czechoslovakia, has crossed the border into American-occupied Germany. A heavy mass of low-lying cloud make this operation possible, and the plane had to run the gauntlet of enemy fighters and anti-aircraft guns. But when they run out of the cloud, they are flying over friendly territory, and then Biggles sees planes following. They are enemy fighters, and they have been tailing the British machine above the cloud.
But we're over the American zone. They wouldn't come here.
Don't you believe it, Algy. This is the Cold War. A few hot-headed pilots would think nothing of violating a frontier. To them, we're an enemy, and they're out to get us.
If that's the case, I'm afraid they will. There's no cloud for us to hide in here, Biggles.
No, and we can't land anywhere. It's a darn sight too rugged.
Shall we bail out?
And be machine-gunned in midair? No, thanks. I'd rather be shot down with a kite.
All right, we'll turn and make a fight of it, eh? There's the unmounted machine gun we can use. Might bring a couple of the blighters down with us.
That'll be our last resort. We'll test out speed first. It's taking us further and further into the American zone.
Oh, no!
What's up now?
You can forget speed. You can forget everything. See what's coming from the north?
Good grief! Jets!
Yes, we haven't a hope now, Biggles. We can never dodge jet planes.
We won't have to. Algy, those aren't enemy kites, they're saber jets.
American jobs.
Yes. They're going for the fighters, not for us.
Oh, you beauty, look at them go.
And look at those fighters go. Haha. Ever seen a group of scared pilots?
They're taking our tip into the cloud bank.
Good luck to them. They might escape the jets there.
You sound as if you want them to.
I've no desire to see a battle. A strap like that could easily push this shaky old world right into a war. Providing these Yanks chase them well away from us, I'll be happy.
They've certainly done that. They've all disappeared into the cloud now.
Good riddance to them. And let's hope tempers don't become too hot in there. All right, you can ease back now, Algy. The panic's over.
Any instructions? The last course I had was to Berlin.
We'll head for Berlin tomorrow. Oh. For the moment, I'm more interested in sleep. Frankfurt, I think. We'll spend the night there and plan our next phase in the morning.
Roger. I'll see if I can work out where we are and plot a course for Frankfurt.
Stop it, old dear. Oh, I say, let go of my belly here.
I'll do no such thing. You're coming right in here so that I can show you to Biggles and Algy.
I
Pat, what's that you've picked up?
I found it in the cabin just as we landed.
A queer thing to find in the cabin.
Now, look here, old bean. We Lissies just won't stir for... Oh, we won't stand for any blinking insults, you know.
It was asleep.
Oh, hang it all, old dear. Oh, all mortals sleep. And we lissies do allow ourselves to be mortal occasionally.
What's more, it's been asleep for a long time.
Oh, now I say, now look here, old
Do you know
darling.
when Bertie went off, Algy?
I can't imagine.
In Czechoslovakia. After he left his cockpit, he went into the cabin, curled up on a bunk, and went to sleep.
Oh, baked potatoes, what's a bally bunk for?
And what about all the flak and the machine gun fire? Where was he then?
Asleep. He slept through every bit of it.
Well, of all the clots.
Just a moment, old sausage. Before you babble words for which you may have sorrow, let us lissies state one thing. We were confident in your ability to cope with any situation. We've spent so many tedious hours training you in the art of aerial ballet combat that we
That
knew that...
settles it. You're going out, straight out through that hatch.
Quiet, Algy.
What's up?
Biggles. Look at him.
Good grief. He's asleep too. Help me with him, Bertie. We'll put him in one of the bunks and make him comfortable for the rest of the night.
We're down, Ginge. What'll we do now?
No need to panic, Ian. We're no worse off than we have been all along.
Yes, we are. We were going to take over the plane and escape, but now we can't.
I don't know why we shouldn't.
Oh, don't be so daft, Ginge. We've landed. This is a big city.
It's an airfield, you mean? Planes take off from airfields, don't they?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Calm down, old son. When you've had more experience at this life, you'll learn there's a way out of every spot.
I can't see any way out of this.
So just pipe down for a minute while I nut it out.
Oh, we stopped. It's too late, Ginge. We can't do a thing.
By George, we can. Listen, Ian. Are you still holding that lump of wood?
Aye. And I better toss it away before Lutzov comes out of the cockpit.
No fear. Hang on to it. It's dark in here. Now he's turned off the lights. He won't see us when he comes through to the cabin.
But he'll look for us. He knows we're here.
Well, that's all right. When he comes in, I'll keep him talking. You work round behind him. Got that?
Aye. But I don't understand.
When I give the word, dong him with the wood. Then I'll tear up to the cockpit and take off the kite. Well, you understand that, don't you?
You think we can do it, Ginge?
I know we can do it, providing we keep our heads. All you have to do is to sneak round behind Lutzow and hit him when I tell you to. Clear?
Aye. I think so.
Quiet, quiet. He's coming through.
We are leaving the plane here. Collect your baggage and come with me.
Oh, here we are, Lutzow. It's very dark, isn't it?
That does not matter. The plane will be serviced and refueled, while we sleep in the town for the remainder of the night.
What town is this?
Well, you may be curious as you wish at this stage, Hindmarsh. There will be no escape for you now. We are in Kiev.
Kiev? That's in Russia.
You cry. You didn't think I was taking you back to England, did you? Now move, so I can open the hatch.
Oh, sorry. I didn't notice I was leaning against the hatch. Now, Ian.
What's this?
Hit him, Ian, hit him.
I
Fine,
can't.
you think you're...
Then I will. You young fool, Ian. Why didn't you do it? He had his gun half
Well,
out.
I couldn't, Ginge. I've never done anything like this before. When I lifted the wood, I suddenly realized I might kill him. I couldn't do it.
And suppose he'd killed us. God, suppose I'd landed a bullet in my stomach from his gun.
I'm sorry, Ginge. I don't seem to be much use to you, do I?
Oh, never mind, Ian. We all felt like that when we faced up to this sort of thing for the first time. You'll learn, old son. You'll have to. It's either their lives or ours most of the time.
I'll try to remember that.
But stop worrying about it now. There isn't time. See if you can find some rope to tie him with. If there isn't any, rip up his clothes and tie him with those.
What'll I do if he comes round?
Well, you'll have his revolver in your hand, won't you? If it's necessary, use it. I'm going forward. What the blaze is it?
There's someone there trying to get in.
Well, get us out. Quick! Get on with that, and don't be frightened of that gun.
The gun. Aye. This time I'll use it. I wouldn't try to break in if I were you. I'm not scared of you.
you go? Get him tied?
Aye, he's tied. You want to take the gun now, Ginge?
No, thanks. I'll leave it with you.
Oh, you can now. I'm not going to talk about that little scene of mine, but it won't happen again.
Good.
Now that we've pulled this off, I can see just how much we can get away with, if we have the nerve.
Yes. Nerve goes a long way in this business, Ian.
I'll say.
And, you think we've got away with this, do you?
Well, Ginge, we've taken off, haven't we?
Yes, we've taken off, Ian. We can say that.
I'm just hoping we're on the way back to England now.
Yes, I wish I could say the same. With only 2/3 of Europe to cross, and half of that behind the Iron Curtain.
Oh, I realise all that, Ginge. I know very well it's not going to be easy.
Not going to be easy? What do you think you're talking about? Of course it's not going to be easy. Do you realize that within a few minutes, every fighter plane within miles will be on our tail?
What? Oh, but I hadn't thought of that.
I know you hadn't thought of that. And not only that, we're practically out of fuel. That's why Lutzow put down at Kiev. The tanks are almost empty.
And Ginger, checking the gauge, found the tanks were almost empty. Empty tanks and flying hundreds of miles within Russia. Ginger and Ian have little chance of escape. Can the two youngsters cope with this situation? Listen again for the next exciting chapter of The Air Adventures of Biggles.
The Air Adventures of Biggles.
When Lutzow lands his plane at Kiev in Russia, Ginger and Ian Ross act at once. A well-aimed blow from Ginge knocks out the German, and Ian ties him securely while Ginge rushes to the cockpit. Violence, even when it's necessary for their safety, is unusual to the young guardsman, but he finishes his task and joins Ginge when the plane is airborne. By now, Ian is cheerful and sure they will escape, but Ginge knows otherwise. Not only are they well inside Russia, but the plane is almost out of petrol.
I know now why Lutzow put down in Kiev. He was going to refuel and then push on in the morning.
And you say there'll be planes out after us soon?
Obviously. Lutzow would have contacted the drone by radio before landing, so they'll know all about us. But that's the least of our worries, Ian.
Aye, there's the petrol. What are you going to do about that, Ginge?
Well, what can I do? Want me to pull petrol out of the air?
Oh, now, don't laugh at me. I know I'm not much use at the moment, but I'm trying to keep my nerves steady.
I know. And don't worry if it breaks down every now and again, Ian. Just quietly, mine's not far from cracking right now.
You? You haven't a nerve in your body.
We'll skip that one. There's so little juice in the tanks anyway that we haven't time to discuss it. I'm afraid we'll have to dump the kite, Ian.
Dump it?
Bail out and let it crash. The only place we could refuel would be Kiev, and I'm certainly not flying meekly back there.
Yeah, but I've never jumped with a parachute.
It's much better than jumping without one, believe me. We saw some in that cabin locker, remember? Hop back and bring two forward. I'll show you how to put them on.
Right. What about Lutzow? We can't let him crash with the plane.
When you know how to fit a chute, you can slap one on him too. Now hop to it, Ian. By the look of the fuel gauge, we'll have to bail out in about 10 minutes.
Ginge, I've just done something stupid. I lost my head.
What have you done?
It's Lutzer. He had regained consciousness and he struggled with me while I was putting the parachute on, and I sort of lost my temper and hit him. I'm afraid I knocked him out again.
You're coming on, Ian. I wouldn't worry too much about that.
But his arms and legs were tied. I should never have hit a man when he was tied like that.
Sometimes you have to. Now, there's no time to worry about it. Did you put the brolly on it?
I did that before I came to tell you.
Yours okay?
Feels very awkward, but I suppose it's all right. Ginge, is there no other way?
No, there isn't. Hello, that's the warning note. Off you go, Ian. I'm coming too.
But what about the plane?
It'll keep steady for a while. Then she'll go into a spin and crash.
Will we be out by then?
Well, that's up to us. Now get a move on.
There's Lutzer over near the hatch.
You certainly did a job with him. However, he may come round when the air hits him.
But suppose he stays unconscious. Will he be killed when he hits the ground?
Oh, I don't think so. He should be quite limp. That'll break the impact of his fall. Now undo his ropes.
You're going to leave him free?
Well, of course we are. Hurry, Ian. I want him loose by the time I open the hatch.
Right you are.
Get a move on there. The plane's beginning to tilt. She'll spin any minute.
Right. He's right.
Good. I'll tie this rope to his ripcord.
But why are you doing that? If there isn't much time, we haven't...
If we pull the cord and then toss him out, his chute may catch on the plane. We'll push him out first. By the time the rope's played out, he'll be clear, and the jerk of the rope will open the chute. Now, give me a hand with him.
There he goes.
He's right. Chute's open. Right, you next.
No, I'll see what you do.
You jump now, you idiot. Hurry, the plane's swinging over on her nose.
All right.
Ah, he'll be okay. Now. Ahoy there, Ian! Can you hear me?
Quite easily, Ginge.
Everything all right?
Aye, I'm fine. It's quite a pleasant sensation, this parachute business.
Yeah. The worst moment will come when you land. It's so dark you won't see where you're going to fall. Just remember to relax as much as you can.
Will it take us long to go down?
Ooh, don't know. We were at a fair height when we left the cockpit, but I should say we lost a bit after the motors cut.
I wonder if Lutzer's all right.
Oh, I should think so. Look, he's way over there to the east. See him?
Oh, yes. Yes, I can just see the white of his parachute.
Yeah. Ian,
What's the matter?
there's a plane coming. Can't you hear it?
Yes. Yes, I hear it. What'll it do, Ginge?
It depends on the pilot. Some of these Ruskies are cold-blooded birds. Holy smoke!
Oh, what's he firing at? The plane's crashed.
He saw Lutzer's parachute and fired a burst into it.
You don't
I mean, he shot down his own pal. Those bullets would have cut the parachute to ribbons, and Lutzer with it.
Ginge? Ginge, where are you? Ginge!
Don't shout so loudly, you ass. I'm over here.
Oh, thank goodness I found you. I was so tangled up in the ropes of my parachute when it came down, I didn't see you land. I thought you might have been...
We are both all right, so stop panicking. And for Pete's sake, don't make too much noise. We don't know who might hear us.
I shouldn't think there'd be anyone here to hear us. It's such a wild, unearthly sort of place.
You can't tell. We'll have to find somewhere safe where we can rest up for the night. What's left of it. I'm just about done in.
Me too. It's been a mite too exciting for me tonight. And particularly those few minutes while the fighter was about. I didn't think he'd ever go.
I thought he'd see our chutes, just as he saw poor old Lutzer.
Aye. I don't suppose we'd better look for Lutz, sir.
No. No, he couldn't be alive after falling from that height. And he must have been riddled with bullets anyway. We'll have enough to do looking after our own skins.
Ginge, how will we come out of this? What'll happen to us?
I haven't the ghost of an idea here. And I don't intend to think further than tonight. That hill looks pretty steep and rocky. If we climb it, we might be lucky enough to find a cave where we can spend the rest of the night. So come along.
All's well, Biggles. They're both awake. Pat said she'd be dressed in about 5 minutes, but don't expect Bertie for half an hour.
I suppose he's polishing Harriet now that he's back in civilization. Still, half an hour should do us. Then we'll have some breakfast, refuel the kite, and take off.
The kite should be serviced now. I left instructions for it to be ready for us before we left the drome last night.
Then everything seems to be in order. Oh, I feel better this morning, Algy. That sleep did me a world of good.
You needed it. You were in rotten shape when we picked you up.
With this confounded flesh wound. The trouble with our game is that we must collect an occasional clip over the ear, but we never have time to rest and recover properly from it.
You sure you're feeling all right?
Oh, yes, grand. The new dressing Pat put on last night made a wonderful difference to it. I'll give my constitution away if it can't throw off a little scratch like this.
Your constitution's so darn tough, it'd need an atom bomb to really knock you.
Don't you believe it. I'm a mere mortal like anyone else. Oh, by the way, did you send off that signal to Scotland Yard?
Yes, I told Raymond we were going direct to Berlin, and not to expect further word for a few days.
Fine. I was chewing over that Berlin business while you were away. I'm not very hopeful.
You don't think we'll find Ginge there?
I'm afraid that Ginge and Ian Ross are in an extremely dangerous spot. You see, in Prague, I bribed that character, Raoul Marmontel, to spout about the International Brigade. Inevitably, he guessed that Ginge and Ross were stool pigeons working for me. If he passed on that information to von Stalhein...
Do you think he did?
Knowing friend Erich, he may have been forced to. In that case, I rather dread the thought of what might be happening to those youngsters.
By Jove, yes. If von Stalhein sent word to Berlin that they were spies...
What the blazes? Ian. Ian, wake up.
Leave me alone, can't you?
No, wake up, quickly. It's important.
What's the matter?
Keep your voice down.
Why? Is something wrong?
It's likely to be at any minute. See that shadow across the entrance to the cave?
Aye? What's wrong with that? It's broad daylight now, and the sun always throws shadows.
But not shadows that move right across the entrance to a cave, as I saw that one move. There's someone standing out there, Ian. And I've a feeling he's watching us.
The two young men sit tense and motionless, watching the shadow at the cave's mouth. Had their hiding place been discovered? Can they escape recapture in the heart of Russia? Don't miss the next thrilling chapter of The Air Adventures of Biggles.
air adventures of Biggles.
Ginger and Ian Ross bail out from their plane, which has run out of fuel. They also attach a parachute to the unconscious Lutzow and push him out. But the pilot of a marauding fighter shoots him down in cold blood when he glimpses the white of the parachute. Luckily, the night is dark and he doesn't see the other two parachutes. Ginger and Ian drift safely to the ground some distance away. The following morning, Biggles is preparing to fly with his friends to Berlin, but he is not confident of the success of his visit. He knows that Ginger and Ian are in great danger, but he doesn't know that at this moment they're awakening in a cave on a Russian hillside.
I woke feeling something was wrong. Then I saw that shadow at the opening. It moved right across from one side to the other.
Yeah, but what is it? A man, do you think?
I should say so.
And what do we do? If we've been found, we...
Shh. There's no need to tell him we're awake.
Ginge, it's moving again. It's coming in.
Good grief. It's a woman.
Aye, but that doesn't help us. She's got a gun, and I doubt if she'd be frightened to use it.
Better put up your hands, Ian. I don't like the way she's staring at us.
I wish she could speak English. That gun's liable to go off if she misunderstands.
I speak English.
Oh, you do? Well, then please put down that gun. You may be able to help us.
Why should I help you?
Well, you don't know anything about us yet. There's no need to be unfriendly before you've heard our story.
I know your story.
Yeah, but how can you? We came down only a few hours ago.
With parachutes, you dropped from an aeroplane which crashed 5 miles from this hill. You are Englishmen who were being taken to Manchuria. At Kiev, you stole the plane and attempted to escape.
How do you know all this?
We are not completely uncivilized in Russia. Even a farmhouse can have a radio.
Oh, I begin to see. There was a warning sent out.
There have been messages broadcast every 15 minutes. All citizens are warned that you are dangerous and must be apprehended.
So you apprehended us, eh? Mind if I ask how you found us?
There is no reason why you should not know these things. I was returning from the village where I had delivered my eggs and butter. I saw your parachutes.
But we hid them under a bush.
There is a breeze this morning. It had blown them loose.
Oh, why weren't we more careful, Ginge? We're finished now.
Near the parachutes, I saw footprints in the soil. It was easy to see that you had come to this hill. I returned to my house for my husband's revolver, and then came to search for you. I saw you sleeping in this cave. Is there anything else you wish to know?
No, thanks. That's plenty. Well, I suppose you hand us over to the nearest commissar now, and then collect the order of the red castor oil bottle for being a good little girl.
Your humor does not amuse me.
I had a feeling it mightn't. You don't look as if anything would amuse you.
Come, you will walk ahead of me.
Shall we do as she says, Ginge?
But definitely. People without senses of humor sometimes pull triggers. Besides, if we must face that blooming commissar, we might as well get it over.
You will enter the house.
Is this where the commissar lives? It looks like a farmhouse to me.
This is where I live.
You've brought us to your own home?
I have said that I live here.
But why? We thought you were taking us to the village, or to Kiev, or somewhere like that.
Is it long since you have eaten?
Oh, yes, quite a while. Sometime yesterday in the plane.
Aye, and I'm feeling awfully peckish now. If you could rustle up something for us, we'd be most grateful.
I shall give you food. You will sit by that table, and you will not move without my permission.
Well, if there's food at the end of it, we'll do anything you say.
I shall place the gun in my belt while I prepare the food. But if there is movement, I will shoot.
Oh, there won't be any movement, lady. Only our jaws munching when you bring that grub.
Do you mind telling us your name, ma'am? It's rather odd not knowing what's going to happen or who you're talking to.
I don't think she's going to tell us, Ian.
Well, at least tell us what's going to happen. Are you going to hand us over to the authorities when we're fed?
Forget it, Ian. This lady does one thing at a time. The conversation's over. Now she's getting breakfast. Let's thank our stars for that, and wait till she's ready for the rest.
Oh, now, baked potatoes, O'Bean, you can't do that. I mean to say, oh, dash it all, you positively can't do it.
He's done it before, Bertie.
Yeah, well, yes, and he's been right off the blinking track every time he has. I mean to say, we Lissies have some rights. After all, it was our bally brain work that pulled us out of Prague, what?
It was the brain work of a certain British agent called John Smith. But you were quite useful.
Yes, well, there you are. What would you have done without us?
Expired on a nasty damp pavement, probably.
Precisely. We went through thick and bally thin with you, Harriet and I. You simply can't leave us out of this blinking jaunt.
I'm leaving you out because you went through the Prague operation with me. Sorry, Bertie, but this trip into the Russian zone needs only two of us. I'm going to rest you and take Algy.
Oh, but I mean to say...
It's no use arguing, old man. My mind's made up. You and Pat will stay on this side of Berlin and be ready to hop into action with a kite should we need you.
I can understand you leaving Bertie behind, Biggles. He's an awful nuisance sometimes.
Oh, I say, now look here,
But
old
look,
darling.
couldn't you find a place for me? I've missed all the excitement on this assignment.
I'd love to have you with me, Pat, but a man and woman are more likely to arouse suspicion than two men. So I'll have to give you the waiting job again.
Oh, well, there's no use, Pat. Once the old blight has made up his mind, he's like the bally sphinx. Impervious, impregnable, and impolite.
Here's the message from Raymond, Biggles. It just came through.
Thanks, Algy. Everything's all right. He's contacted Major Boyd, the intelligence officer, and authorized him to help in any way we want.
In other words, to get you through the Russian zone and leave Bertie and me here.
That's it, Pat. I'll pop round and see Boyd now. Algy, will you be ready to move off at dusk?
Whenever you say.
All right, I'll arrange it for then. And don't be miserable about it, you other two. There'll be plenty of excitement to everyone before this job is finished.
Oh, delighted to meet you, Bigglesworth. I've heard quite a lot about you.
Yes, I've worked for Army Intelligence once or twice. They know me quite well in London.
A signal came through about half an hour ago telling me to help you in any way possible. What's the trouble?
Two of my operatives may be prisoners in the Soviet zone. If they are, I want to get them out, or at least to make contact with them.
I see. You want me to do this for you?
Well, I would like you to help as far as possible, but you must understand that I handle my own dirty work, thank you, Major.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go through to the Russian zone without being questioned at a control point.
Of course, you understand, it's rather irregular, you know.
Most of my work comes under that heading, and yours too, I imagine.
Yes, quite. Anywhere particularly you want to go in the Russian zone?
If my men are there, which is far from certain, they'll be at the Hotel Prince Karl in the Zindenplatz, sir. I'll start my inquiries there.
And you'll need a guide to take you in and bring you out again. That the idea?
Well, I don't know about bringing us out. We may be away some time.
He can wait.
Suppose he waits for an hour. I'll have a friend with me, so I can send word to the guide if I'm going to be delayed.
And if he's heard nothing by the end of that hour?
He can forget all about us. It'll mean that we're in so much trouble that we'll have to get out of it ourselves.
That's more than likely, you know, Bigglesworth. The Russians are very alert, and they seem to dislike people hopping their control points. If anything does go wrong, want me to do anything about it?
No, Major. I've already told you I handle my own dirty work. If you can supply the guide, I'll be more than grateful.
Name the time and the place, and the guide will be waiting.
The
This is the corner, Algy. It's almost 6, so we shouldn't have long to wait.
There's a seedy-looking individual coming now. Surely he couldn't be the guide.
You never know. Seedy appearance can be useful. It passes unnoticed.
Please, are you Inspector Biggles first?
Yes?
My name is Otto. Major Boyd instructed me to meet you at this place.
Are you the guide?
Ja, mein Herr.
I'll tell you what we want, Otto.
I know what you require, Inspector. You will please follow me, yeah?
Satisfied now, Algy?
I'm not sure. Not at all sure. Otto may be the best guide in Berlin. But from the look of him, he's as likely to lead us deliberately into the hands of the Russians.
The guide has a furtive manner and looks like any cheap crook. Will Biggles and Algy be safe in his hands? What will Biggles do when he finds that Ginger is no longer in Berlin? Listen for the excitement in the next chapter of The Air Adventures of Biggles.
The Air Adventures of Biggles.
While Biggles and Algy search for them in Berlin, Ginger and Ian Ross have been caught in a strange situation in faraway Russia. They have been captured by a woman and taken to her farmhouse. She gives them food, but covers them with a pistol, and will give no hint of what is to become of them. Meanwhile, Biggles has enlisted the aid of a German guide to lead him and Algy through to the Soviet sector of occupied Berlin. Otto is a seedy-looking individual with an unpleasant manner. Algy feels that he can't be trusted. The German keeps ahead of his charges until he reaches a long row of identical houses in a quiet residential street of the city.
I'd watch him every minute, Biggles. It wouldn't surprise me if he led us right into the arms of a Russian patrol.
Don't be ridiculous, Algy. Otto was sent to us by Major Boyd of Army Intelligence. Boyd wouldn't send anyone who couldn't be trusted.
I don't know. I've heard that funny things happen in Berlin these days.
Well, forget about him now. He stopped. This must be the place he was heading for. What is it, Otto?
Do not speak loudly, gentlemen. There may be those listening who would be dangerous to us.
All right. Where are we?
Behind those houses is the border of the Russian zone. We cross it here.
Where? All I can see is a row of houses. There's no space between any of them.
We go through a house. Come, and speak as quietly as you can.
It's confoundedly dark in here. Couldn't we have some light, Otto?
Nein, it would be dangerous. Always this house is empty. If the lights was in, there are those who would grow suspicious, eh?
It would be a wonderful place to have your throat cut.
What's that? I opened the door. Please go through here.
It's just as dark on this side.
What room is this, Otto?
It is another corridor, or a different house. Come.
I get it. Don't you see, Algy? These houses are back to back. We are now in the Russian sector.
There are many houses like this in Berlin. And only some of them are known to the authorities.
So you and fellows like you can go from zone to zone without passing through the control points, eh?
And fellows like you, mein Herr?
He's got you there, Algy. Including ourselves, there must be plenty of odd types hopping these boundaries. And we're all equally breaking the law.
Hush! This is the door to the street. Please be silent. while I see if it is safe to pass through. Yeah, the street is quiet. Move on to it quickly and keep walking to your right.
What's this idea of keep walking?
It is through that house that we shall escape from the Russian zone. Do you wish a patrol to see us standing by the door?
What patrol? As far as I can see, there's no one in the street but us.
Isn't there? Listen.
Sounds like marching.
There are regular patrols of these streets near the zone boundary. That is just one off there.
And coming this way. What do we better do, Otto?
Keep walking and ignore them. Do not speak when they're close. If they question us, leave me to answer them. Huh?
We'll certainly do that. Here's your chance, Algy.
What do you mean?
It's a Russian patrol. See if we've been led into its arms.
Yes, by Jingo. Better be ready for anything.
Here they are.
Quiet. They may hear.
They didn't so much as notice us.
No, and I take back everything I said, Otto.
Ah? I do not understand, Mynheer.
Oh, that's right. I said it to Biggles, not to you. Well, I take it back anyway.
Well, what now, Otto? We seem to be safe from those chaps.
There's no reason why they should suspect us of anything but being East Berliners. Major Boyd said to me you wish to visit the Hotel Franz Karl in the Zindenplatz.
That's right.
I shall lead you to it at once. It will take perhaps 10 minutes.
10 minutes, eh? Think we'll know all about Ginge and young Ross in 10 minutes, Biggles?
I wouldn't even guess at that, Algy. We'll just hope.
Ginge, how much longer is this going to go on? I'll go cuckoo if I have to sit here much longer with that female pointing a gun at us and staring at us as if we were a couple of frozen fish.
Yes. I say, ma'am, we've had enough of it. Don't you think it's time to talk?
I do not know what you mean.
All day we've sat here like this. Well, certainly you've fed us, but you still haven't told us who you are or what you plan to do with us.
I have not decided what to do with you.
Well, you've had enough time, haven't you?
It is not easy for me. Time will not solve my problem.
Now, we don't know what you mean.
Perhaps I could tell you of myself. Then you might understand.
Aye, do that. At least it'll be a change if you talk to us. I've been wondering if you're human sitting there like a statue.
Oh, yes. Yes, I am human. I once fell in love with a British airman.
Good grief.
Does that surprise you?
Oh, well, no. But I didn't expect to meet anything like that in Russia.
His squadron was stationed in Moscow during the war. We met and were married. Almost immediately he was transferred back to England. I didn't see him again.
Oh, what rotten luck for you. He was killed, was he?
The government of my country would not allow me to leave Russia to join him. For 2 years, I knew him only by his letters. And then he was killed.
I'm sorry. And forgive us for being a bit snappy at you just now. It must bring it all back to you, having a couple of British flyers in your house like this.
It came back to me when I heard over the radio that you had escaped with the plane. I was thinking about it when I saw your parachutes. That is why I searched for you.
Then you aren't against us after all. You've done this so that you could help us.
I don't know. At first that was my thought. Now, I am undecided.
Look, ma'am, you can't blame us for pushing our case like this. You've nothing to lose by helping us.
There is more than myself to be considered. If it is discovered that I have helped you, both my husband and I may be killed.
Your husband? But didn't you say that he was...
Since the war, I have married again. Paul is a Russian and a good party man. I can do nothing which will endanger his life.
Then you're going to hand us over. You have decided.
Paul will decide. I am holding you here until he returns from Kiev. Then I shall discuss with him my problem. Perhaps he will help you to escape. Perhaps he will insist that you be taken to the authorities.
Now, wait a minute, ma'am.
But there has been enough of this talking. If you please, we shall remain silent until he comes.
This is the Hotel Prince Karl. Do you wish me to come further with you?
No. No thanks, Otto. It's our baby from now on.
At the corner of the street there is a beer house. I shall wait there for you.
If we haven't come in an hour, you'd better go home.
As you wish, mynheer. I shall wait for an hour.
Well, this is it, Alger. If we are to learn anything of Ginge and Ian Ross, we'll learn it in there.
Any particular plan when we're inside?
We are still wearing those red spotted ties. They might help. Apart from that, we'll size up the place and make our plan from there.
Quite a crowd in the foyer.
Yes. Keep your eyes open in case Ginge and Ian come through. It isn't impossible.
Roger.
Seems a typical hotel foyer. Reception desk over there by the stairs. Doors into the lounge, the dining room. Lifts.
Biggles, get back, quickly.
No. No, gentlemen. You surely will not leave so soon.
Von Stalhein.
Sorry, Biggles. He'd seen us before I spotted him.
I was hoping you would look in. For that reason, I have spent some hours waiting here in the foyer for you.
How nice of you. But what made you so certain we'd come?
Partly instinct. Partly some information I learned from the late Raoul Marmontel.
So you did get to Marmontel?
Oh, yes. We discovered a rather large sum of West German marks in his possession. With a little persuasion, we prevailed upon him to tell us where they had come from. Then he died.
He told you how he traveled from Paris to Prague with me, did he?
And other things. Amongst them was the information that you may come to Berlin to search for young Ross and his companion. It pains me to disappoint you, but you are too late.
Really?
They left even before I reached Berlin. By now, they are hundreds of miles from here. By the way, Bigglesworth, I should be most interested to learn the identity of the second recruit, Ross's companion.
Oh, just a bloke we picked up in England.
That isn't enough. I can force you to tell me who is the second man.
Biggles, a squad of Russian soldiers has just come in. Think they're for us?
What you say, Lacey?
Yes, I do. Stalhein's been waiting for them.
Do not speak in whispers. The playing is over.
That's what you think. The lift, Algie! Run for the lift!
The Russian patrol bars the door to the street, so the lifts offer Biggles and Algie their only way of escape. But can they escape by rushing further into the hotel? There are many dangers between the flyers and the boundary of the British zone of Berlin, so don't miss the next exciting chapter of The Air Adventures of Biggles.